The voices that moved you, the stories that stayed with you. They're not done speaking yet. We don't just talk business, we build legacy. Welcome to Echoes of Impact, where powerful moments are reborn. Let's bring the past back to life. Get ready as the Unapologetic Entrepreneur podcast revisits the most powerful and inspiring episodes that made an impact.
What challenges did you face when starting out, and how did you overcome them? If you can give us one, two, just give us a challenge that you faced, because with that mindset of being in a 9 to 5 and this being preached to you, and as a young lady, which I hate to sound sexist, is a little different for what us men receive, or young boys. What were some of those challenges that you received? Because I'm sure people weren't just like, oh, she can do it, girl power.
So this is interesting. The first challenge is almost what you're saying, is that there's a lack of belief. And while I can say that there was some skepticism from, people around me, there wasn't an outright, you're not going to be successful, you won't make this work, you won't make this happen. But there were years of that story being told to me since I was a child, not directly, at school, at church, at work, on TV. You hear this story over and over again about, oh, you won't make it, you won't make it, you won't make it, you won't make it. And you don't realize how much you internalize that message. And so the first challenge that I had to overcome really was my own mindset. And I tell people even today that your mindset is probably 85% of the reason that you're stuck wherever you are. It's probably the biggest. Everybody, nothing is new, right? Like almost we might do it a different way, we might do it a new way, but nothing is new. And what that means is we've got a blueprint that we could follow to do whatever it is that we want to do. But our mindset will make it so much more difficult for us. And that's probably the very first challenge that I had to deal with. The second one, and I'm sorry for everybody that's a worker, but I like to be real, because being an entrepreneur is not easy. The biggest challenge is that as an employee, I knew what I had to do and when. I had a clear job description, and I also had a group of people that were doing their thing that they were supposed to do. As an entrepreneur, especially as a solopreneur, when you start out, you're doing it all yourself. And there's wait, I'm used to having somebody I could say, go do this task, or take care of this one for me, or take care of this one. And I'm also used to having my calendar booked. Like the time I start to the time I end, I know exactly what's going on throughout that whole time. I know exactly what assignments need to be completed, or what projects are being worked on or due. When you're an entrepreneur, it's predictable. It's predictable. But that lack of predictability is probably one of the biggest struggles people have when they first become an entrepreneur, because now you don't know what to do. And when people don't know what to do, they do nothing.
If you can give one unapologetic piece of advice to women in business, something they might be uncomfortable with, or something that you feel is necessary for them to hear, what would it be? Is it to
Unapologetic.
empower the women? Yes.
I'm gonna
Unapologetic just means sorry, not sorry. I'm going to tell you like it is.
I'm gonna take directly from my mentor, Grant Cardone, and I'm gonna say, don't be a little bitch. That would
Boom!
be my unapologetic.
I didn't expect that one. Wow.
Because
Okay.
that's what we're doing. We're making excuses, we're whining, we're complaining. And I don't mean women. This is obviously women take it. But women suffer from imposter syndrome more than men do. And there's a reason why and people like minorities suffer more than like white men do. Like everybody suffers from imposter syndrome more than men do, though. Other genders, right? So as a woman, I would say don't be a little bitch. There's a thing like woman up,
Hmm.
and do it anyway. You figured it out in every other area of your life. You've made it work with what little you might have had or what little you've been given. Do it.
Got to Kira here. Coach, what advice can you give a newly licensed agent that is looking for an IMO?
I would say it's more important about the person you're working with directly than the IMO. You need to do your research on that person and that person that's getting mentored by that other person. And I wouldn't, as a new agent, do not put yourself don't put yourself as a captive situation. Never put yourself in a captive situation, meaning that you can't work and explore other opportunities.
You got to find what shoe fits you. Look, I don't believe there's any such thing as a bad IMO. I don't believe that there isn't. I think you can make it anywhere. If you look at the statistics, it doesn't say this IMO produces the most millionaires. It says the insurance industry produces the most millionaires in a year. It's all about finding what fits you, finding what works for you and your family. I think that too many insurance agencies and people take their job not as, I don't want this to be mistaken, way too serious. They forget about the people and start representing the job. They forget that it should be about them and their families and their surroundings. So what do you do to weigh out your options? See what systems. You know why McDonald's is very good? Because they have a system. What systems fit your lifestyle? Once you find that, success is on the way.
And also, if the founder is no longer present in the business, that might not be a good fit for if you're thinking long term.
So it's all about prospecting.
Oh yeah.
And prospecting can mean many things. Prospecting doesn't just mean giving people an opportunity. Prospecting is how can you help? We have solution based. What are you looking for? If you can help them in any way, shape, or form. So either way, I think every entrepreneur should be prospecting, no matter what it is. Even if it's looking for, I hate using this word, but sales.
I was just about to say that.
If you're looking for that, you still got to prospect. Because people are looking to buy, but nobody wants to be sold. So at the end of the day, with prospecting, that's where everything comes in.
So that's one, I'm going to add this too. Every entrepreneur needs to learn how to sell.
Experior Financial Group emphasizes a culture rooted in integrity and transparency. You can read that all through the book and everything that comes about you. How do you cultivate and maintain these values across a rapidly growing organization? Because what just hit over 10,000?
Yeah, just crossed 10,000 licensed agents. Yeah. That's a great question. And it's one thing that we do battle with at the corporate level is how do we make sure that we are attracting the right kind of people? And the truth is, no matter what company you're a part of, there's good people that are going to work there and there's bad people that are going to work there. But one thing that we're very strict on is compliance and doing right by the customer. So we have a lot of shielding around the protection of the customer. And we find that agents are coming in here, if they're just here for a quick buck to see if they can burn and churn through some, we find them out real quick and we get rid of them real quick. So we're not the kind of company where it's like, wow, they're a big producer, so we're going to just put them in the corner over here and we'll just let them write their business, even though it's not ethical and not good. And there are companies that do that. They protect the big leaders. We're not. We want our leaders to be exposed. I want to be exposed. I want to share, hey, this is what we got. This is the numbers of the business. A lot of people are very secretive of that kind of stuff. And I think if you start keeping secrets, that's when a lot of things go sideways in your business. So we're very transparent. And I think as a result, it's caused a lot of our leaders to be very transparent in how they run their businesses. So
what is your ultimate vision for Xperia, and what legacy do you hope to leave on the financial services industry?
My vision for the company is simple. We want to create more 6- and 7-figure income earners than any other company in history. I want to see us become the largest, most powerful insurance marketing organization in the entire world, going global with it, not just staying in Canada and the US. We're a couple of years out from our next international plans. We are operational now in Puerto Rico, which was almost like starting in another country. I mean, there's a lot of hoops you got to jump through for that. But, we're getting ready for Latin America. We'd like to go to Africa, Asian countries, all over the world.
Man, it was also in a convention I just went to. We have something called the Rule 72. Some of you that actually do finances know what I'm talking about. It's a different rule now, though. They put a twist on it. When you learn something new, you got 72 hours to apply it, or you lost your moment. Your window is closed. So what am I saying with that? When you find your losses, when you fall down, you bruise yourself, the best thing you could do is get up as quick as possible. And I'll give you a quick story on this one. Apply it quickly. So I used to ride motorcycles. I actually had a fall, messed up my shoulder. Thank God for a helmet because my head hit the curb. I was on a brace. One of the first things that one of the gentlemen that I used to ride with told me, "How you feeling?" Always checked up on me. Finally, I got the brace off. I'm going to tell you the truth. That fall, my life flashed between my eyes. Like, I saw everything. I saw not being there for my son. At the time I was married, I was like, man, what am I going to do? If I would have died, where would it have been? Like, what did I do? Did I fulfill what I wanted to do as a father? What I wanted to do as a father, my main goal, which I feel, thank God, I've reached that part of that goal. Now it's excelled, was to be the father I never had. And speaking of fathers, it's kind of crazy. It's my father's birthday today up in heaven. So, I forgave him for everything. So I'm very good with saying happy birthday. But my life flashed between my eyes, man. I really thought I was going to go. And I grew this fear. I have this motorcycle there. I did enjoy riding. It was such a thing for me to release stress. And now I don't want to ride no more. I fell. You know what's the first thing I learned? First thing I learned was that I needed to get back on my bike right away. I needed to get on my motorcycle right away. So I say that to say this. I fell, I got up, and right away, I needed to get on my motorcycle. Go for a ride. Wipe out the fear. You got to apply your lessons real quick. All right? You handle it. And do those moments impact your personal bond? I feel like I just opened Pandora's box for the ending question.
All I can say is that if you never experience failure, then you will never know how to handle it. Like for me, I had money, I made money, I lost money. Have I had, $30,000, $50,000 in my bank account all at once from a job? Absolutely. Have I had $0 in my bank account and I'm like, what happened? Absolutely. Do I pull out my hair when I had hair and say, what is going on? Absolutely. But then you got to now reflect and say to yourself, why is the up and down? Why is just the way it is? Because if it's the season, then you know something, that you must prepare for that. But at the same time, you must remember too that if you are making money, now you need to set some money aside.
Thank you for coming out. Be blessed.
Thank you.
Thank you.